Can I please have Karen Kendra Holmes join me on stage? Karen's going to be telling us about Philadelphia police officer Maria Gonzalez. Karen Kendra Holmes works for the federal government as a safety officer. Besides her full-time job with federal government, she's a part-time radio host on WPFW 89.3 FM on the Inside Out LGBTQ show. Karen received the Endangered Spirit Award from Capital Pride on June 7, 2018. She also was a TEDx speaker with TEDx Asbury Park, New Jersey on May 19, 2018. In April of 2017, she received the 2017 Monica Roberts Advocacy Award. She was selected in January of 17 by the LGBTQ Nation as one of the top 50 successful transgender Americans you need to know. In May of 2015, she was honored in a special edition among 41 other women from around the world in the Platform magazine for up and inspiring females who have made a difference with their platform and inspired others with their positive values towards others. In April of 2014, she received the Willis Green Community Service Award and the Unsung Hero Award team by the Corporation for National and Community Service. In October of 2013, she received Soldier of the Year out of the country by the State Guard Association of the United States out of 24 states and 23,000 soldiers. In December of 2012, she received the NCO Soldier of the Year by the Maryland State Guard Association and the Maryland Defense Force. She was selected in August of 2012 by the International Women's Leadership Association, a woman of outstanding leadership in the business owner division.
Good afternoon, everybody. Where do I start? I'm just glad to see you all here today to support the Fallen Heroes Memorial today. Thank you, Scott and Buddy, and most of all, Linda, who is Maria Gonzalez's sister, for taking the honor and the pride in me to be able to represent Maria. I didn't know her very well, but reading her story that Maria had written just brought inspiration to my life even more. And it continues to make me realize that I'm on a mission to even make sure that no other transgender person ever goes through what your sister went through when she passed away. She was a police officer with the Philadelphia Police Department who just happened to be transgender. But first, I would like to give you a snapshot, take you on a little journey of Maria's earlier days when she was a child into her adulthood when she passed away. On November 8th, 1946, Maria Gonzalez was born a boy. And the name I'm going to use at that time to honor Linda's wishes is I'm going to use Chick. On October 12th of 2018, Maria Gonzalez was a woman who passed away and was buried as a male. Let me take you back to the time Chick was a little boy and dressed up as a young girl. However, Chick's life, not as easy one. Chick was born at a time in history when there were many family secrets. His mother and father fought a great deal of time in secrets about Chick. It is now believed that his parents knew there was a problem with Chick. He was raised as a boy. At the age of 8, his mother, for Halloween, decided to dress Chick in a yellow dress that belonged to one of Chick's sisters. It was a very pretty yellow dress, as Chick would later describe it. Chick looked at himself in a mirror and liked what he saw and how he felt in the dress. And that's the story of a lot of transgender people who live today. Chick began to hang around the kitchen a great deal and watch his mother cook and bake. He had an interest, and his mother would show him how to do things. Around this time, he began hearing his parents arguing a lot about his behavior. He later discovered his father did not think Chick was growing up to be the child he wanted. His mother used to say, "You need to take him out and show him how to be a boy." Chick was a very beautiful child, and this bothered his father, so he would not do that. His sisters always knew something wasn't right, but it was never discussed that could be a problem. Growing up where they lived, there were no children in the neighborhood. In the early 50s, they moved to a block in North Philadelphia where there were many children, and their parents thought this would help the family in socializing for Chick. Chick tried to join the boys on the block with their different activities like games, stickball, bike riding, but Chick was never good at these activities, so was never really part of the group to enjoy things. Yes, he had one or two male friends on the block. Chick socialized with the boys as best as possible, but was not one of the boys. He never got into fights with anyone. Chick kept his distance. Sometime later, Chick's mother was reading a magazine where there was an article about a man who transitioned to a woman. His mother thought was absolutely horrible about the transition. By his mother's reaction to this article, Chick knew exactly how his mother felt. In this early new house, Chick had his own bedroom. It was on the third floor, faced the back of the house, making it very private space for him. And a lot of transgender people go through this, hiding, being in a separate area to be able to be who they truly felt they were. It was apparently to the family that there was something going on with him. The sisters thought in later years when he would disappear and would retreat more and more to himself. Later, his parents divorced when he was very young, and the children lived with their father, who would not come home until very late, only to sleep. Later, when the Vietnam War broke out, Chick was petrified he would be called up. As Chick would later state, he wasn't afraid to being in the military, but rather of being discovered about his secret of dressing up as a woman. And here again, a lot of transgender people go through that every day, trying to hide their identity of who they truly are until later. And during these times, Chick would disappear and never reveal where he had been. He was only 17. Later, Chick was dating a girl and decided to marry. He would tell his sisters that the military would not take him if he was married. One night he went out drinking with a male friend who was leaving for a military assignment. They were so drunk that they found themselves across from the Philadelphia Police Academy. They were shooting across the river for no other reason than they were drunk. They were arrested. The friend was picked up by the MPs, and Chick was picked up by the Philadelphia police. And his mother, who strongly advised him to apply for the Philadelphia Police Department. That's a good way to be in jail, isn't it? Chick had no other recourse than to vigorously pursue the police department with the Philadelphia Police Department as an employment. At the age of 20, Chick entered the police academy, and he was 21 when he graduated. He remained married for several years, but then divorced. The first wife wanted children. Although they had a healthy sex life, Chick could not produce children. Chick did not like living alone and was eventually introduced to his second wife, by a family member. This girl knew that Chick would dress up like a female, but it didn't seem to bother her. Chick and the second wife kept this a secret from everyone. On numerous days off, Chick would pack a bag, leave the home to stay in a hotel, where in private he would dress like a woman. There's no one knew, and in secret he could be his true self. And does that bring back a lot of memories? This went on for many years, especially after his wife became pregnant and had a child. Chick accepted the child as his own because he was afraid didn't want the secret to come out. Chick drank a lot and was in and out of rehab. To the outside world, he seemed that he could not kick the habit. Despite of all this, he was a great police officer and received numerous commendations. He served 21 years on the streets of North Philadelphia, 23rd District, including time in the mounted unit, until his horse was put out to the pasture, and another 15 years as a firearms instructor at the police academy. Chick must have been a badass person to be a firearm instructor. After his daughter went off to college, Chick thought he could finally relax at home and dress as he wanted. The daughter was living in Connecticut, getting married, and would be permanently out of the residence. However, Chick's wife had a very friendly relationship with the neighbor and her daughter. The girl was in the habit of just walking to the back door without knocking, through the back door, without knocking or with consent. In June of 2003, Chick was sitting on the couch, eating breakfast, relaxed, watching TV, dressed in female clothing, and probably feeling safe when this girl, age 14, walked into Chick. She screamed, ran out, and told her mother what she had just seen. The mother called Chick's wife and told her off. The wife came running home to confront Chick. Now, after all these years, the secret that they had was exposed. The wife was so angry, she went immediately out to find an apartment for Chick and packed his clothes and put him out of the house. This all occurred within weeks of the daughter's upcoming marriage. The mother called her daughter and told her she needed to come to Philadelphia as Chick needed to tell her something of importance. The biological mother confronted the daughter and told her what happened, and told her she did not need to worry about having or passing those bad genes, as Chick was not her biological parent. They decided to exclude Chick from the wedding, even though Chick was working 2 jobs to pay for the wedding. Chick was in shock after all of this. Chick informed his sister Linda, who's here today, that maybe this was the best now. Now that everyone knew of him, he could now come out and be happy in his life. On January 6th of 2004, Maria presented a letter to the Equal Employment Office, which stated his intentions to transition as a woman, and that he would be called Maria. Maria was still working as a Philadelphia police officer, as the academy instructor firearms. At the age of 57, Maria made the decision to transition and become a woman. Maria's decision to finally come out and declare her desire to become a woman was not an easy one, but she believed this would make her a happier person. However, after Maria's transition, her life was not an easy one after all. And so many times, transgender people, they want to be happy. And because of society, the way they've treated us, they end up losing their family, their friends, their jobs, their homes. And this is what ended up happening with her. Maria had to live an entire year as a female before she could be approved for the surgery. She encountered numerous problems on and off the job. Maria was fortunate that her niece had come out years prior to this and was very supportive of Maria's new lifestyle. For some of the family members, they were not supportive and had to put Maria out of their lives. And so many times this happens in our community that we lose the ones that really are close and dear to us, that we feel have our backs as family members. After her surgery, she became involved in many issues. One important issue on the job was the usage of bathroom. This is a common thing that goes on in our community, that people are afraid to use the bathroom with us. One day after returning to work, she needed to use the bathroom, which she didn't know which one to use, whether it was the men's or the women. She thought about it. She said she couldn't go into the men's as she was no longer a man, and the women didn't want her in their bathroom. Maria turned to her niece as they had to be a solution. She worked tireless with her niece on how they had to go about this, then appointed Mayor Nutter as the liaison between LGBT and the mayor's office. With the assistance of her niece, they were able to make changes within the police department, opening a way for better relations for all groups within the department. When Maria retired, she decided to work more with her niece to enlighten people that times were changing and to hopefully enlighten officers as how to be more accepting to the LGBT people, and mostly transgender people. Family life had changed for the worse as her mother wanted nothing to do with her. She was informed if she wanted to visit her, Maria had better not come dressed as a woman. She was very clear to Maria and other family members that on November 8th, 1946, she had a son named Chick and not another daughter. Her then wife filed immediately for a divorce, giving the appearance to her neighbors that she did not approve of Maria's behavior. The daughter did not allow Maria to attend the wedding. Maria's daughter gave birth to 2 children. When the first child was born, Maria asked to see the child, but was allowed only once. The second child did not meet Maria until shortly before her passing. Maria expressed to her sisters how her feelings were hurt, that after all these years, this girl brings her child to meet her. The daughter was estranged from Maria since that time of her coming out till her death approximately 14 years later. The ex-wife kept the tabs because she was receiving money from the pension that Maria was getting and needed to would be getting her money, at least that it was Maria told her sister Linda. Maria's mother had a sister and a brother who were still alive and married at the time. The sister respected Maria's mother's wishes and did not allow Maria to their home. Her mother's brother and his wife were very open to Maria's decision in her life and spent a great deal of time with Maria. Numerous fellow officers would no longer acknowledge Maria. Before Maria's retirement, she was moved from being firearms instructor to what she called a corner in the back where no one could see her answering the telephone. Maria's younger sister was very supportive of her life change. Her sister told her, "You only have a short time and then you're done." I just want to go back for a second. Being ostrated at work, being put aside so that nobody sees you or knows what you're doing. And this is very, very wrong to do, especially being a police officer. You take that oath when you're a police officer to protect and serve. Where was this for Maria by her fellow officers? Although most of her life was a secret from everyone, she kept the secret hidden very well. The last 6 years, when Maria's happier days were the happiest days of her life. And in 2011, Maria reconnected with an elementary schoolmate. As it turned out, their paths crossed on numerous occasions throughout the years, but they never made the connection. Her classmate had married a police officer who had been a partner of Maria's. Maria had attended the christening of their child. When the classmate divorced her husband, they lived blocks away from, and not knowing that they were neighbors basically in the same neighborhood. The classmate, whom we will call Mary Jane, found herself living in a very bad condition after the divorce. In 2012, Mary Jane left her situation with only the clothes on her back and went to Maria's. The situation was originally to help Mary Jane get back on her feet and find her a place to live. However, the two got along so wonderfully that they decided to stay together. The apartment they were in wasn't really nice looking, so they went out and looked for another apartment, which probably, in the old situation of the apartment, attributed to some of Maria's depression. Mary Jane suggested that they move to something more cheerful. They found a great apartment and began to furnish it together. Neither wanted to live alone, and even though they were very different, they got along wonderful. Unfortunately, Mary Jane took ill in January 2018 and passed in February 2018. This event hit Maria hard as she told her younger sister how much she missed Mary Jane. When Mary Jane moved in, Maria had stopped drinking after almost a lifetime of being a drinker. Both became smokers. They were both very happy. Non-smokers, and they were both very happy. The younger sister spoke with them often, and they would tell her everything that they talked about all the time. And without a doubt, they were some happiest days of Maria's life. Mary Jane knew all about Maria and accepted her as a person and was morally supportive of all Maria's endeavors. Maria started smoking again in April of 2018 after the passing of Mary Jane. And on a routine doctor's appointment, she discovered she had some cancer cells. She had the treatments and was discovered she had some more cells. And then later she was declared okay. She again went in for a routine doctor's appointment and it went downhill from there. Linda, her sister, believes she missed her friend and passed shortly thereafter, when Maria was given a shot of morphine and did not recover from it. So Linda, her sister, tried to obtain the documents and plaques she was awarded as a police officer. Maria never talked about things she did with the police, only the funny things. Maria's daughter and her mother destroyed everything as they never accepted Maria once the secret was out and she transitioned. As I end the story of Maria Gonzalez, I want you to know that there is approximately 1.4 million transgender Americans in the United States. I am one of them. When we talk and when we take the big step to transition, again, we do it because we want to be happy. And because of the way society treats us, we end up committing suicide. The suicide rate in the transgender community is 41%. And that's pretty high. In this case, Maria wasn't committing suicide. She just wanted to be happy, and it didn't happen. Not from her family, except for Linda and her sisters, and it didn't happen to her parents. And that's sad. The one thing, as I said earlier, when she became a police officer, she wanted to serve and protect. And what we need to do here as police officers, if you hear of people talking about transgender people in a negative way, we need to stand up for us. We need you to tell the truth so that we don't end up committing suicide. Thank you.
And Maria's sister is here, drove all the way from Arizona just to be here for this memorial service. As you heard from the story that was just told, Maria was pretty unhappy through her life until she reconnected with her friend Mary Jane. And I think Mary Jane and Maria had a lot in common. She didn't have many family, didn't have many friends, but those last years of both their lives were a little happier. And the one thing I talked to Linda about, you heard from Chief Amal this morning, the one thing that Maria wanted was to be buried in a pretty dress and red lipstick. Unfortunately, her family chose to cremate her, so that wasn't possible. But today, in front of you, we have Maria in a beautiful butterfly pink and blue urn with her friend Mary Jane beside her. Can I have Pastor Rob come and join me, please?
It is time for our closing prayer, but if you will indulge us, we're going to give Maria one last gift. We're going to commend her to her God with the prayers of the church, using the name that she was born to have. Let us pray. Almighty and holy God, all that you have given us is yours. As first you gave Maria and Mary Jane to us, as you gave all of these brave men and women we've celebrated today to us, we gather now and we give them back to you. Receive them, Holy One, into the arms of your mercy. Raise them up with all your people. Receive us also and raise us to new life. Help us so to love and serve you in this world that we may enter into your joy in the world to come. And into your hands, most merciful Savior, we commend your servant Maria. Acknowledge, we humbly beseech you, a sheep of your own fold, a lamb of your own flock, a child of your own redeeming. Receive her and all of those we love into your mercy, into the breast of everlasting peace, and the glorious company of your saints in light. Amen.